me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. Without you, driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like world without you. Crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live without you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's in a better mood than they were last night. Well, how'd you put it? Same Spurs, different day, isn't it? I mean, you cannot tell me that that did not go tits up by the end of it. We should have absolutely destroyed them yesterday. And one of the most annoying things is we had every chance to bloody do it. That first half, we should have easily been 3-0 up, I reckon. 3-0. Okay, push it, say 2-0. But 3-0 for me, we should have been up in that first half. I mean, divide and conquer, we totally conquered them in the first half. Bar maybe one chance that they tried getting. I think in that first half, if I remember right, we had 9 corners. Just in the first half, 9 corners. And absolutely nothing to show for it. All the possession in the world. Nothing to show for it. Defence, can't say nothing about them in the first half because they had absolutely nothing to do. They could literally sit on the halfway line because we had them pushed that deep. But again, nothing to show for it. What has actually changed here? And it's like a few of us have been saying on here. It's like I've seen a lot of people on the chat saying everything. Nothing's changed. The tactics haven't changed. One of the players has changed. And out of all the subs we had on, there was maybe, I'd say, 2 on there that had the possibility of coming on and making a difference. Yesterday, I know people are going to say, first game of the season, why wet yourself over it? It's first game of the season. Bollocks. We should have conquered that game good and proper. We should have destroyed them, yeah? We are not going to have last season's first 10 games to cover our ass. That is what covered our arse last season, those 10 first games. We ain't got them this year, people. We haven't got them. Play like that again, and it will definitely show. Because we got 3 very good teams coming up with Newcastle, Arsenal, and Man U, who can quite easily destroy us. And I keep saying it, mate, you got to adapt. But with this one, I'm not going to put this one on Ange so much. Yeah, still down to some of his tactics, but nah, this one for me was more the players. If Ange doesn't take those players off and slap them around the face 5 times, he's not doing his job right. I think for that one, it's the players that have got to take it. And I think everybody on here who knows me, everybody here who knows about me, I don't like Ange's style of football. Can't stand it. Don't like it. But in a way, you can't really say it wasn't working yesterday. It was working. Look how many chances we had. Look how many corners we had. Look how much possession we had. In that first half, it was working. And against teams like this, you can make Ange's system work. It's just like what I say, you cannot play 38 games in the season like this. Yesterday, I put that one majority on the players. I mean, up front, that was abysmal as far as I'm concerned. I'll go into the players a bit later on. No, I was meant to do the show later, but I also got told I've got an appointment a little bit later, so I have to do this a bit earlier. So let me say hello to a couple of people, and I will go into having about how I personally think the players played. So what's this? Tony, morning to you, mate. Everyone is quick to blame Ange. I don't care what coach we have. That second half shows our team is not up to it. Son, Brennan, Sarr, Udogie, Werner, all trash. I'll agree. Yeah, they were. But Ange hasn't adapted nothing. Maybe in that second half, he should have tweaked a little bit. Moved a couple of things around where you could see it was starting not to work. He didn't. He made subs for players that play exactly the same way as the players that was on the pitch. He changed nothing. That is where I put a little bit of the blame on him. But the thing I'll agree with you with, like I said earlier, that game was more down to the players not doing their job properly. We should have easily been 2-3-0 up in that first half. And Eugene, morning to you, mate. How you doing? Hope everything's good. And Eugene, again, already sent you a message, mate. Tom, big up everyone. Big up to you too, mate. Tony, how we doing, fella? Always says it how it is. Big up Dan in the chat. I'm still fuming after yesterday's shit show. Nothing will change until Ange changes his bullshit tactics. Man City wouldn't be able to play this shit. I totally agree with you. Like I said, in some games, this will work. But in a lot of other games, it won't work. He could have the best defence on the planet. He's still going to concede a load of goals. In a top league like the Premiership, you need a solid defence. Okay, try and control the ball up the other end. But you still got to have the defence to back you up for when the ball gets kicked over and you lose the ball. Because even the best players lose the ball now and again. And Wolves F1, Dan Chat, big up. Wow, that was disastrous start. Yes, it was, mate. When games should be over in the first half or first 55 minutes. Mate, not first 55 minutes. That should have been over in the first 30 minutes as far as I was concerned. We should have already had a goal before we scored the first goal. I mean, Solanke definitely didn't have his shooting boots on, did he? And Sue Smith, morning to you. Much as I dislike Levy, these dreadful tactics are on Ange. He will get himself sacked at Christmas at this rate. And the whole sorry saga will begin again. I agree, 100%. There's not a lot else I can say to that one. I totally agree with you. It is true. Anyone can blame Levy as much as they want for the transfers, whatever. Ange is the one who said he picks the players. He's had over 400 million spent on him. If anything, Ange has been probably the most backed manager that we've had, money-wise. He picks them, They must be good because Ange wants them for his system. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, that's why you re-signed Timo Werner. And Lord Rodney Trotter, what's the story? Morning Glory. I don't think there's much morning glory on this one, mate. It's like I put on the title. Ange might fly. Yeah. Spurs might win something. Yeah. Pigs might fly. But Ange might fly. I think Ange's going to fly by Christmas on this one. By January, I reckon. And Lord Rodney, what you're saying here, another year older, same old Spurs, isn't it? Same Spurs, different day. Sue Smith, Wolves, big up. She's saying big up to you. And Sue Rodney saying, well, nothing has changed, so I expect the same results. Totally agree we are. And Lord Rodney here again saying, looking forward to everyone telling me I don't know what I'm talking about because I've never been a football manager. Mate, we'll get the same shit in that one. As far as I was concerned, anyone who tells you you don't know what you're talking about because you're not a football manager, you're an armchair manager, whatever they want to call you. Well, you can easily swing that around and say, well, you're not a fucking manager either, mate. So what right have you got to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about? It swings both ways, that one, as far as I'm concerned. And Mark, big up to you and big up to Dan. Same shit, different season. It's definitely looked like it's going to start that way, isn't it? And Lord Rodney, I've never been a toaster, but I know how to make it. There you go. As long as you have plenty of butter on it and a bit of peanut butter, I'd be happy. And Sue, Lord Rodney, how could any Spurs fan get behind the dross and we are being served up? I agree. Andy Clark, AFC, good to see you, mate, apart from that last bit. Big up, Dan. I hope you're all good. Come on, Leicester. Yes, mate. Fuck right off, but hope you're having a good day. Or good morning, should I say. And Ryan, big up Dan in chat, in for another long season. Looks that way. Samuel, how we doing, mate? My little brother-in-law. Hope you're all right. And bloody hell, you're up early. And Lord Rodney again on the Levy Brown envelopes has to be the only reason, surely. So with that, Ryan, smash the like button. Thanks a lot, mate. And Rob's, what you saying here? Hello, people. Oh my God, this is going to be a long season. Only the next few games will tell. It is the first game of the season, people. We can't just judge it on the first game of the season. The problem is we are judging it very quickly because we have seen no changes. I think literally everyone who was being honest to themselves was basically gonna pick that team and maybe would have got a player wrong. I think the main question you was going to ask in that one was Kulu going to play? Was Kulusevski going to play over Johnson? That was going to be the main question. But what about this youth academy team? What about this youth style that we're taking on, that Angie's saying? Not one of them started. Not one of the youth team started. Any chance they might not be ready yet? Because they definitely didn't make a difference when they came on the second half, did they? I mean, Bergvall, okay. He looks all right on the ball here and there, but you can't say any of them had an impact. I mean, if anything, after the subs, I thought we looked even worse. So, funny youth academy team, this one. Funny youth team without a youth player in it. One player we have bought, one player that gets into that first team, and Solanke. And he definitely didn't have the best first games, did he? And Alfie Hall saying, since 2002, Ange could be the second worst manager behind Nuno. I've watched managers at Spurs should be sacked alone for starting Johnson and subbing off Madders yesterday. Best player on the pitch by a mile. I mean, why the hell did he take Maddison off? Some say Maddison looked a bit knackered. I don't personally think he did, but then I don't know what goes on in Maddison's mind. I don't think Ange knows what goes on in his mind. But I personally was very shocked when we took off Maddison because literally everything we was doing in that game was running through Maddison. And as soon as we took him off, it showed even more. Well put, Alfie. Yep, from Rob's and Renegade, afternoon mush, what we doing? Dick, yeah, bruv, hope everything's all right for you, Chav. And the world famous Spurs, we are a big fat nothing burger. Yep, I'll agree with that one. And Sue Smith, morning Sue. Sorry on the delay, I was making coffee. I mean, speaking of coffee, I'm only on my second one. I usually have 3 by the time we've done this. I need my coffee here every morning. And Alfie, what are you saying here? I can't not be honest anymore, Robski. I can't stand these tactics and manager anymore. Hope we lose to Everton and Arsenal. Batter us. Don't want Ange anymore. Now, in that one, mate, I don't hope that we lose to anybody. I really don't. The only one I did that with was Man City because our season was basically over. It was worth the defeat just to make sure that those pricks didn't win nothing. So I was quite happy with that one. But any other game, especially at the moment, do I want us to lose it? No, we don't. Do I want Ange to get the sack? No, I really don't. I want him to do well at the club. But unless he pulls his finger out and starts showing that he can adapt, I personally think he will be gone by January. And that game spoke a lot of it. But again, that game for me, which I will come to soon, is more to the players than the manager. And Alfie, give me Gary O'Neill. Yes, that is one I would snap straight up. He looks very good. Or Glasner, both of them have tactical nouns and understand the Premier League and actually coach defending. I mean, that is a question. Does Ange even know what to do with a defence? Does he even know what to tell his defence to do? I mean, if you want to think about it, they're professional players. They should know how to defend themselves. But they're only doing what they're told to do. But I know if I was one of those defenders, there'd be times where I'd just ignore the manager and do what I've got to do. But then the question is, how much stick do you get off the pitch for it? We don't know. And Rob, what you're saying there, Alfie, I feel the same. It's clear Ange is out of his depth. How much longer do we need to go with this? And Lord Rodney, I wouldn't overlook Everton, Alfie, they'll be bang up for it. Anyone is going to be bang up for it against us. Because look, if any one of us can see it, and a lot of my mates can see it, and I think a lot of the other supporters can see it, there's one way and one way only to play against Spurs. And that way, a lot of the time, will either get you a win or get you points, or it will at least make you stand a bloody good chance. Because we are so predictable the way we play. If you haven't got the quality to take us on, just sit back. Sit back, take up what you can, because we don't take no efforts with long shots or anything. Spurs will lose the ball, get it down one of the flanks or even over the top. We've got a chance. A chance. And that is basically how you play against Spurs. It is that fucking simple. And Rich, what you're saying, Leicester made it easy for us in the first half. Do you know what? I can understand that. They did look like they showed us a bit too much respect, but we did press them very well. But Leicester made it easy for us in the first half. Didn't press. Allowed us as much time on the ball to basically do as we want. We weren't that good. Leicester were that bad. Second half, Leicester improved. Look what happened. I think with that one, I think we put it on them, but I do think they showed us a bit too much credit. I also think that we was on them enough to put the pressure on them to keep them back. And they don't exactly have the skill to do what they want to do, but it's easy enough for us to lose it and get it down the flanks. As soon as we had that bit of pressure on us, we're all happy about kicking the ball about, like a bunch of boys down the park, enjoying it, liking it, and then that bit of pressure folded. Completely and utterly folded. You could see those players, as soon as they had that pressure on them, they didn't like it. Next thing you know, passes start going wrong, tackles start going wrong, people start losing the ball, and we fell apart, as we have done on many occasions. That team does not like and cannot handle pressure. Everyone likes being in control of the situation. Of course, it's the better way to be. But then other teams you find, they can handle that pressure. We sure as hell can't. I don't think we can. And Renegade, afternoon motion, what are we all doing? Relying on kids. Mate, no. We weren't even relying on kids yesterday. We had our full team out there. Not one kid in that team. On the subs bench, yeah. But in that first 11, we had exactly the same team as last season. We had one new player on that pitch, striker. And like I said, not a good game he had. But relying on the kids, if you say relying on the kids when they come on the subs, yeah, I get where you're coming from. But that one weren't relying on kids. There was no youth in it. I mean, a lot of people told me, you haven't got a clue Archie Gray is going to walk straight into that team over Pasuma's place. Yeah, like he did. And Ryan Mack, what you say? Yeah, well, it's Groundhog Day again. Yes, it is. James Flower, big up, Dan. Big up to you, mate. Hope everything's good for you, mate. And I'm sure we'll speak soon on this one. And Alfie, what you saying? For me, Robski, he has to go before October. I'm fed up. Thank God Everton game is at 3 p.m. on Saturday, so I don't have to watch it. Well, if you go get yourself a VPN and go get yourself Peacock, it's only about, 15 quid for every game in the season. You'll be able to watch it then. Question is, do you actually want to watch it after that one? And Nicola, if we can beat the worst, if we can't, beat the worst team in the league, I fear some of these teams in Europe will do it to us. The thing is, this season already, just by this first game, it's only the first game, people. We do need to calm down a bit, but it's already looking predictable. And James agreed, Dan, and I agreed with you. Lord Rodney, I actually heard one of the main Spurs channels talking about how we should beat Everton comfortably because they just got battered by Brighton, and to play a similar style to us. We should beat them. We should beat them easy, same as we should have just beat Leicester. But any team, even a team that isn't that confident, even a team that isn't that good, is going to come to Spurs, or we go to them, and they're going to sit there and think, do you know what? We got a chance. If we do this, we have a chance. And sometimes all you got to do is give people one chance. We had about 9 chances in that first half and made absolutely nothing, bar one goal. Made nothing of totally controlling that game. And James, look how little they had. Yep, totally agree. Lord Rodney, it's not even naivety, it's stupidity and arrogant ignorance at this point. Well, they do say, don't they? A mistake is a mistake. We all make mistakes. You make that mistake the second time, get your act together. You make the mistake the third time, it is 100% your fault. You haven't pulled your finger out. You haven't obviously realised what you're doing wrong. So I can definitely get where you're coming from on that one. His tactics have... Do you know what? One thing I did notice yesterday, yeah? Bentancur playing that box-to-box, he did seem to cover that 6 role a bit better. And it's like I've said to everybody, Bentancur was a good DN, deep-line playmaker at Juventus, and he'd done it for a good 3-4 years, and done a good job of it as well. He is actually the only natural DN we've got. And in that first half, he looked like he covered the box-to-box and the DM respectively well. But when you're playing against a very good team, that box-to-box in the middle is not going to be able to cover that DM role all at the same time. It will come back on them. Even if they got all the energy in the world, they will get to that point where they're too far forward and cannot come back and cover it. It's the tactics. And Rich, it was only working first half because they completely rolled it over to us. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but I do think we was more than good enough in the first half to pressure them back as well, that they had to stay back. But yeah, they did show us, they showed us too much compliment, basically. I agree with Dan, but also Ange has had near on 400 million and hasn't signed one leader. And Sonny is still the captain of this team. It's another one I agree with, mate. Son should never have been made captain for me. Son is not my sort of captain material. Again, this is where we're all different. And I think, I can't remember his name, but a fellow on Savage Show made a good point last night about how a captain doesn't have the same influence that he did 15, 20 years ago. I can't remember the fella's name. Apologise for that, mate, but repeating what you said, he was right. It is true. A captain does not have the same influence in a game that he had, but I still think the captain has a very big importance on the game. And Son, to me, he just looked washed up yesterday. He looked totally washed. His pace, he's still quicker than most, but you can definitely see he's losing his pace. His passing was shocking. Shooting, was it even there? Crossing, I think he got a good cross in there in the first half. And apart from that, for me, he looked totally washed in that first half. And then at a time when things started getting funny, when it looked like we actually needed a captain to start shouting at people on that pitch, pull your finger out your ass, get your act together. Come on, boys, we got to finish this. As all I see with Son is he's facing the floor. He's not captain material for me, not at all. But at the end of the day, each to their own. But for me, if I was going to have a captain, it'd be Romero, and that's going back to more old school styles. But do we actually have anyone of captain in that team, really? For me, Romero is the closest one. I mean, Maddison as your vice captain, meh. Not captain material for me. Vice captain, I can't. What does vice captain even matter if you can't even get your captain right? And Marlon, what you're saying here, it was more about Spurs average players last night. Ange looked concerned. Too right, he should bloody look concerned. He's the one who got those players. But I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I said it earlier. I think yesterday was more on the players than it was on the manager. We all know that the manager hasn't adapted. We can totally see that. We can totally put that on him. But yesterday, I will put 80% of that game on those players. Those tactics we don't like. Those tactics he hasn't adapted. Got us 9 corners and many a clean chance on goal. So it was definitely doing something right. But again, against teams like Leicester, that will work or can work. It obviously didn't work, but that was down to the players. When you go and play a game like that against a team like Newcastle even, again, do you know what? With the pace they've got on the sides and the way we play football, I am now actually worried. I wouldn't say scared, but I'm now actually worried to play West Ham. And that's embarrassing. And Nicola, what you're saying here, our front line is so bad. If we had a better front line, we would smoke Leicester 4-5-0 in the first half. That was the main thing which definitely showed in that first half. Our front three looked shocking. They really did. But Solanke, I'm going to cut him the slack on this one. To me, he didn't even look fit. He got himself in some good positions. He had a shot or two. Yes, they were pretty lame. But for me, Johnson and Son, they were bad. And that's just talking about up front. No, Son wasn't as bad as Johnson. Johnson was, how do I describe? He was fucking terrible. If Ange goes and plays him in that next game, the fella needs a slap. Johnson was abysmal. He was terrible in every which way. Several times he could have took his man on. He didn't. He bottled it and passed it back. And even the one time he did take his man on, he kicked it so far past him, it went off the bloody pitch. Yeah, I guarantee people will still defend him. He's only young. What? That's only 2 seasons straight he's had playing in the Premiership now, and he is still no better than he was when he started. Lee Moody, big up. Dan, big up to you too, mate. Hope you're having a good morning. And what's the Bertie Hotspur saying? Big up, guys. Like, subscribe. Thanks a lot, mate. And nothing has changed. Become numb now. Johnson and Werner combined ain't good enough. Can't believe Vicario screamed at an 18-year-old. Pathetic. Now, you know what? I've heard a couple of people mention that one, yeah? If Bergvall got it wrong, which he did, why can't Vicario scream at him? Why not? If you're man enough to play the game, then you've got to be man enough to take the shouting as well. So it all comes in one. So if Bergvall did make that mistake, which I'm pretty sure he did from what I see, then Vicario's got to tell him about it. Scream at him. Do it whatever way you do it. And if Bergvall don't like it, then he's obviously not ready for it. So I can't necessarily agree with that one. The question I will ask with that one, though, why didn't he scream and shout at Romero and Porro when they just totally, they might as well have been playing on their PlayStation when the ball came over and the goal went in? Because again, that one, Romero should have had that well and truly covered. He was cooking somewhere else. He was doing something. His head was not there. So Vicario should have switched on him as well. So if that's the point you're getting at, I agree with that one. But Bergvall, if he does something wrong, or Archie Gray does something wrong, or one of the younger players does something wrong, yeah, they get screamed at like the rest of the team. Everyone keeps saying, age don't matter. If you're good enough, you're good enough. Right. If you're good enough, you're good enough, then you're good enough to take the praise and you're good enough to take the bollocking as well. If you can't handle the bollocking, then you shouldn't be on the pitch yet. So I can understand where you're coming from, but I can also disagree with what you're saying. And I suppose a lot of it will also depend on the situation as well. I think a lot of that was also out of frustration, and it didn't do Vicario any favours on how he looks, because he didn't exactly switch like that on Romero, did he? So I can see where you're coming from. But again, if you're old enough to play, you're old enough to play the man's game, then you got to take all of it. You can't just have the good of it, can you? And Jamal, what you're saying here? While Bentancur was injured, he must call players adjust, make them concentrate. I see Pep and Arteta doing it. Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know what? That injury to Bentancur could not have come at a better time. And it was, I say only very lightly, it was only a concussion. So it'll be all right for the next game. But they were just starting to control us. Leicester were just starting to take control of us. And that slowed and stopped the whole game. And that is exactly what we needed. I personally think if that wouldn't have happened, we could have seen them go 2-1 up, because they was really starting to get hold of the game and get on us, and you could see Spurs were getting nervous, even scared, like we do as soon as it's not going our way. There is absolutely no bottle in that team whatsoever. I know some don't like the phrase, but we're quite well known for losing our bottle when the pressure comes on us. We don't like it. Spurs don't like it. And Rich, I hate Ange Ball. I don't like it either, mate. And still predicted us to win yesterday. Yep, so did I. First thing I said was we'd get a draw 2-2, and then when I found out they had quite a few players missing, I said, you know what? We'll still tweak that 2-1. And I will say 2-1 because we always bloody concede a goal. I mean, yesterday, what was it? Last season at one stage, 2 clean sheets in 25 fucking games. Such a spectacular defence we got as well. Could be something to do with the system. Who knows? And still predicted us to win yesterday. I'm not even sure now this style play will work against bottom half sides. We're getting worse. It's not even that we're getting worse. It's just we've been sussed out completely. And where he has absolutely changed nothing, there's nothing to suss out now because we've already been sussed out. Even if he would just do it with one inverted wing back going forward, have the other cover the back three, at least we got more of a chance back there. Or play it with a DM for God's sake. But no, I think yesterday spoke everything. Unless yesterday was a big wake-up call for Ange. Unless that was the one that slapped him in the face and said, yeah, this team can't play like that. I am going to have to adapt a couple of things because that is my job. I am a manager. I am the one who tells the tactics on the team and the formations and how we play. So it is now down to me to make sure this works. I mean, the other question I do ask with it is it seemed like a couple of the players were the same problem at the end of last season. I am honestly started to think last season that half the dressing room, has he lost it? Maybe lost it is too much of a hard phrase for it. Maybe lost it is a bit harsh. But I do think there's definitely half that team in there that really don't dig the way he plays. I mean, it's all right if you're up front, but I know I played in goal, I played in defence, and I played as a DM. I would absolutely hate that style of play because the amount of pressure on you as the defender or the DM and the goalkeeper himself, you're putting 10 times more pressure on them at the best of times when they don't need that pressure. It is not a system that I enjoy. I don't enjoy watching it. I don't like it. Maybe I just enjoy more boring football. For me, it starts from the back. You need a solid defence, and we have a good defence. Once you've got your defence working, you can get the rest of your team working. But defence, Ange just doesn't look like... Is it that he hasn't got a clue about defence? Or is it that he just generally does not care about defence and is so set short that it can all be done up the other end of the pitch? With better players, it can work better up the other end of the pitch, but we will still lose the ball and it will still come over and we will still concede goals. So he really does have to do something to sort his defence out. But we all know he's not going to. And the boom verse. We super Tottenham from the lane, which Levy knocked down. And we are now feeling the pain. With Ange at the broken wheel. and players that are clueless and lost. We're super Tottenham. You're right. It's true. Why did we even knock down White Hart Lane? I mean, again, I use Sava's words here. We might as well have just stayed at White Hart Lane. We don't buy any players that you would say. Basically, we knocked down White Hart Lane to get this new stadium, to get the money in, to compete with the big boys, to win things. And we haven't signed a big quality player since we got that new stadium. And we've just gone and spent 400 bloody million and still not signed a big quality player. Might as well have just stayed at bloody White Hart Lane. We got better players there. And that's what Sava says. And it is so true. I think so. Mark Cook, how you doing, mate? Morning to you. I hope everything's good. Big up, Dan. Has anyone learned anything from last year? Well, I think we have, and I think you're going to start seeing over the next few games. I think a lot of people are going to actually start thinking now, hang on a minute, something needs to change here fast, or Ange's going to be gone. And the way history goes, with the past 25 years nearly now of Levy, the way history goes, it shows he hasn't got long. Unless Levy has changed his way. I suppose only time will tell on that one. And start again, mate. I bite my tongue off. That's Lee. And with Lee, morning to you, mate. Hope everything's good. Can someone please tell me why the fuck he played Richie on the wing when that's not his position in any way? Again, I don't know, mate. I don't know what goes through this manager's head. Richie has played on the wing many a time, bit like a Son, an inverted forward, basically. He's not an out-and-out winger. My question is more anything, Timo Werner, when he came on that pitch, wow, what a pile of shit. In that aspect, do I rate Johnson as bad as Werner? Not quite. But the one thing both those players have got, and it is probably the only thing they have got, is pace. They can't dribble the ball. I don't think we've got anyone in the team that is capable of dribbling the ball. Now, what I call dribbling the ball is running with the ball stuck to your foot, like a Messi used to do. Now, obviously, that's not the best one to compare it to, but someone who could take it round players, keeping that ball on their feet. What we've got is quick players who can knock it past the player and run onto the ball. That is not dribbling the ball, not for me. And we don't really have anyone of that sort of capability. Werner and Johnson are just two players that are basically in the Premiership because they've got some good pace on them. That is why they're there. I cannot see no other reason of why they are there. I really can't. And Richarlison, we know he's crap anyway. We know even what he's good at, heading the ball in the box, being a pain in the arse in the box. There's at times last season, I would have rather played Richarlison in the middle than Son. Why? Because Richarlison would have been more capable for certain games than Son. Son does not like being sandwiched. He is not a physical player. It's just not the way he plays football. It's no disrespect to the man. I know everybody, a lot of people love him off, but believe me, everybody's shit does stink. And it's just not his way to get stuck in the box and get sandwiched. It's really not. Richarlison is better at that. Solanke is going to be better at that. But then who are they going to have the ball crossing to them? Apart from Porro and Maddison, but mainly Porro, we've got no one who can cross that bloody ball into the middle. Not properly. I mean, the best of people can go up the side and drill it across the floor, basically hit and hope it deflects off someone or hope someone taps it in. That's not exactly hard. That's not exactly skillful. And we have got nobody who can cross that bloody ball. So even with players like Richarlison and another strong point of Solanke, where the ball's going to come in for them to header it? Because we haven't got a winger that can bloody do it. Werner can't cross the ball. Kulusevski can actually do a cross, but where he's on his wrong foot, by the time he steps onto his left foot, he's already covered. Johnson can't cross, come love nor money. Solomon, I can't even say I've seen him play enough at Spurs to judge it properly. Son, out on the wing. No, he can't pass the ball very well. He can't cross the ball very well. He never could. Son's strongest part was always running onto that ball with pure pace and putting it in the back of the net. He's finishing barely second to none. Running with the ball, very good. But when it came to anything else, That's why I've never classed him as a world-class player. World-class finisher, very good player, but overall, not a world-class player. And Wolves F1, how the heck no manager worked at Spurs? Okay, maybe Poch works some sentence, even win trophies. But maybe reason is the end, Daniel Levy and no one else. This all comes back to Daniel Levy. Yes, I know it does. But this one, no. This one, nothing to do with Daniel Levy. This transfer window, Ange has been backed. He's had hundreds and hundreds of millions spent on him altogether since he's been here. He has been backed more than any other manager. He's the one who picks these players and says, I want them. I'm only holding a man to his word. People say, why do you keep doing it so much? Why? Because I'm showing him credit. Because I'm holding a man to his word. Or should I just turn around and say, like I think a lot of people say now, oh, it's just Ange chatting. He's probably chatting bullshit anyway, so just ignore it. But that's only because he's done it to himself. He's basically shot himself in, well, I suppose he's got any feet or legs left to wait man time, shot himself in it. Might as well do it in the fucking back of the head as well. The man, he just spoke too much. I mean, why? Why go tell a load of Spurs supporters, I'm here to win the title next season? Why? Probably the worst crowd you could ever go and say that to, because we are that desperate that we will hold him to it, or a lot of people will. And then a lot of people will just make excuses for him. I suppose everyone just sees it their own way. And Rob, 41 points from 29 games since last November. Mid-table team. Stats don't lie. Well, I think you find a lot of things stats do lie, but in this one, mate, no, they don't. I think that's now what? Is that now 2 wins in the past 8 Premiership games? 2 wins? And like I said earlier, 2 clean sheets out of 25 games towards the end. You don't win things like that, mate. Not at all. And again, you can blatantly see at the back, nothing has changed. Tequila 316, morning to you, mate. Hope everything's good. Fed up of going into chats and being called negative because I'm realistic at Spurs. Hope everyone is well. Mate, if I was you, I wouldn't give a monkey's about it. Don't care less. If you're right, you're right. You're wrong, you're wrong. Yes, at times it can come across, and at times you can even say it is, some of us are very negative, if you want to put it like that. But then you change the word to what the man said here. It's very true. Realism. Realism is something I personally feel you have to look at in life. Yes, there is nothing wrong with having a bit of hope in your life, having a bit of like, yes, this can go right, having a bit of positive in your life. But there's nothing wrong with having the negative side in your life as well, where you think this could go very wrong, so maybe I've got to be a bit more careful. And then, yes, I get you can get the out and out happy clapper, you can get the out and out, you can get the out and out depressed person, basically. But a lot of this negativity with Spurs, from the people I talk to and some of the people I see from the chat, I can't vouch for everybody, just comes down to realism. It just comes down to realism. And sadly, when it comes to realism with Spurs, you're talking 80% negative. Because I guarantee you, put anybody on here with me, bring up everything positive you can about Spurs over the past 15 years. Bring up everything positive you can about it, and I'll bet you I can bring up 10 times more negative about it. Is that just because I'm a negative person? No, it's because I'm a realistic person. I mean, I'm one of those people that I'm that realistic at times, I'll get myself shot for it. If my wife asks me what I'm wearing, does it look good? I won't tell her it looks good just for the sake of it. I'll take the dirty look and tell her that's not the best thing. Maybe you should get changed. And yeah, I might get a slap in the face for it now and again, but you know it goes. Happy wife, happy life. She'd get the ump even more if I didn't tell her and let her go out in it. So, in that aspect, you've just got to tell the truth, and as all you're doing is telling the truth with things. And like we've seen, a lot of people just can't handle the facts. A lot of people just cannot handle the homegrown truths. Truth hurts, so they say. I mean, what film is it where he shouts it in his face? Oh, I can't bloody remember now. You can't handle the truth. Yes, that is a majority of Spurs supporters. Lord Rodney, thought you'd like that phrase, Dan. Yes, of course I would. And Ari, never been a toaster. All right, Alpesh, what you're saying here. The worrying thing, let me start again. The worrying thing is, after all the preseason games, him and still picks crap on the pitch. Yeah, but what other options has he got? Really, we all knew what team he was going to pick yesterday. Bar one player, maybe. I think everybody would have got that right. I say everybody. Let's say 80%. Because I know there was still a lot out there who was saying that Archie Gray was going to walk into that team without a problem in the world. Yeah, give him another season or two. I think he's going to come good. Does he look ready at the moment? Does he? Hell, not a chance. Had, a good game against Motherwell, if I remember right, and then another respectable game in the friendlies. And as soon as he played Bayern Munich, he got absolutely destroyed twice. He got taken to pieces. But that's an 18-year-old playing Bayern Munich, for God's sake. You can only grill him so much for that. What experience has he got? And people keep telling me he's got the power and he's good enough to run that midfield. An 18, 19-year-old does not run midfield. He's still got too much to learn. Even the best of them still got too much to learn. You need that boss in midfield. You need that person with experience in midfield. It's frustrating. And Lewis K, morning to you, mate. It should be illegal to have a front three that is that. Yeah, well, what should and shouldn't be are two different things in life, mate. But I agree with you. That front three yesterday was abysmal. And I think that was probably, you could probably put it on that front three, was the biggest reason why we were not 3-0 up at halftime. And the Boomverse, we are super Tottenham from the lane, which Levy knocked down. Yes, mate, I agree with you. And Kate, how you doing? Good morning. Hope everything's good for you. For me, the problem last night was the players. Not clinical enough, and the defence, particularly Romero, was dreadful for their goal. I'm 100% with you. That's basically what I said earlier. I still put part of it on Ange because he still did nothing to change that system for the start of the game. He did nothing to change the system during the game. He basically brought on players that play exactly the same way as the players we had on the pitch. So 20% of that you can put on Ange. But I said it last night. I said it at the start here, and I say it again. I'll make you right on this one. This one was 80% all down to the players. We should have been 3-0 up at half-time. And like I said earlier, 100% agreeing with you there. It wasn't just Romero, it was Porro as well. Where the hell was he for the goal? Let it go over. You know, was he looking at his watch? Did he have his iPad with him? I ain't got a fucking clue. But he was somewhere. He just weren't there. But I'll make you 100% right. I do feel Ange, yes, he should have changed a few things, but last night was the players. And Tequila, 200 million, and we had one new first team player. I think it's more than 200 million, mate. You know what the best thing we've done out of this transfer window? The most successful thing we've done out of this transfer window as yet. And that is sell Oliver Skip for 20-25 million. That is the most successful thing we've done. I mean, fair play on Levy for that one, I must admit. Getting 25 mil for Oliver Skip. Well, yeah, hold hands up to that one. Fair play, Levy. You got that one right for a change. And Wolves, yeah, at Tequila 316. Big up. Hey, Kate. And Phil 2109. Big up to you, mate. Big up, Danny. It's only a phrase too. Start again. Keep biting me on bloody tongue. Big up, Danny. It's only phase 2. I'm fully behind Ange and the boys, so all be positive. Well, fair enough, mate. Each their own. I just won't agree on that one. I think there was a tender sarcasm in there as well. And Tequila, hey, mate, how you doing to Wolves? And Jimmy Hotspur, big up to you, mate. Big up, Dan. Good morning. Just seen another Ange press conference. I'll watch that after, mate. I wasn't going to watch it before this. If there was one before, I'm not in the mood for that right now. Just watched another Ange press conference. He don't look very upbeat and jolly now. Mate looks broken. How many people do look broken after a season at Spurs? Mourinho didn't look too happy, and Ben, same new season, same Spurs, same day, different day. You know, I agree. But even Conte, I wouldn't say he looked broken, but he looked at the point where he's had enough and I don't care. And he just said it how he was. And yes, a lot of people couldn't handle it. Could he have gone about it a better way? No. Conte did it the right way. Every other manager's tried doing it the nice way, the good way, this and that, or tried dropping in. So Conte just sat there and said, do you know what? Fix the fuck up, Spurs. Fix up Levy. Otherwise, you're never going to do it. That's basically what he said. And every word he said is right. Whether you like him or not, whether you like it or not. But then some people will just be blind. What is the saying? My mother used to use it a lot towards me. Ignorance is bliss. And Mark Cook saying, big up Philly. Will we get to phase 5? Do you know what? You say these fucking phases things. What even are they? Some of these players for me, some of the ones we've gone and got, have they even been bought for Ange? I think that is another question. Have they even actually been bought for Ange? Or have they been bought for the manager after Ange and the manager after that? I mean, that is a question. If Ange really wanted to win something and Ange was that sure of himself that he can win something, are you telling me that he would have picked these young players because he thinks they could win him a season, basically? If that's what he genuinely thinks, then he's definitely punching above his feet. He's definitely in the wrong bloody league. And Kate, what you're saying here, if Ange gets sacked, who the hell do we get in? That is another problem that comes with it. Yes, it is. I mean, really, who would actually want to come to Spurs? Unless you're a small-time manager like Ange was, and you get offered a big money job at a so-called big top 7 club in the world, richest club in the world anyway. If you want to put it by ratings and that, we shouldn't even be in that top 10. We shouldn't even be rated in the top 30. If you want to go by how football should be rated and what you have won, what you have done in the past 20 years or 10 years by the point system they do it, we shouldn't even be on that bloody list. Leicester should be above us. Wigan should be above us. A lot of other teams should be above us. What, just because we made the Champions League a few times? Just because we made a final? Just because we made the Champions League final? Okay, credit where it's due on that one, but still got nothing to bloody show for it. And we still get rated in the top 10 teams in the world. What a load of bollocks. We do not deserve in any means or manner to even be close to that top 10. But I suppose everybody just looks at football in a different manner. Maybe it's just negative. Oh, pardon me. A big coffee went down the wrong hole. All right, Philly 2199. Big up Mark Cook. It's only phase 2. We have 37 games left to go. Yeah, I think that's the scary part of it, though, mate. I mean, you say with this phase 2, going back to what you're saying here, with this phase 2 thing, yeah? How many phases are there then? How many phases are there meant to be? How many phases should there be? Because he said last season, I'm going to go for the title next season, or I want to go for the title next season. And then he goes and makes a statement yesterday, and then everybody else makes the statements. I usually win things in my second season. So what? Is phase 2 to win something like a cup, and phase 3 to get better players, and phase 4 to win the league? I don't know. Give me more detail with your phases, and then we can go through that one. But he said he wins things on his second season. He usually does. He shouldn't have bloody said that. He should not have said that yesterday. Again, done himself no bloody favours. We've all wanted a manager that talks. We've all wanted a manager or someone from the club that keeps contact with the fans. But there's talking and then there's talking too much. And Ange has definitely done too much talking for his own good. And then it comes towards the start of this season. And I've noticed a lot of things he said, he has now, the phrase that people like using, flip-flopped on a lot of them. I think the man has actually realised, shit, this might not work so easy here. This is not the Scottish Premier League. But then there's the other side where you look at it, where he hasn't adapted to anything. You think, has he actually realised that? That is the question with it. But he's definitely flip-flopped on a lot of stuff he said. He needs to keep contact with the fans. That is what I want. I think that's what a lot of people want. I just think he has to be a bit more careful of what he says, what he promises. don't make promises you can't keep, because people will hold it to you for the rest of your life. And Tequila 316, I'm pretty convinced Ange doesn't end the season with us. He's gone by January, mate. Personal opinion. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it all goes right, and I hope he wins a cup. We'll never win a bloody title, but I hope he wins a cup. I hope he does well, and I hope he progresses. He's not a bad manager as such. I just don't think he's got the quality or the standards to be in the high part of the Premiership. I think he's good enough to be a Premiership manager, just not at a so-called big club like Spurs. I don't think he's got what it takes. I still don't even think with his tactics, like I've said, you go and give him Man City, I think he would still struggle to win a league. I just don't think he has got what it takes to win a big league. But then I suppose it's not a winning a league we should be looking at. If we're going to be realistic, winning a league is well and truly out of our weight. I mean, what happened with Leicester was just a freak of nature. And a lot of other teams were going through a bit of a fadey patch at the time and everything else. We also had our perfect chance that season where we should have done it, but again, bottled it, as Spurs do. And do I think Ange is capable of winning a cup? Yeah, I do. But there's a reason to it. You can win a cup with a majority of luck. You can. I mean, how the hell did England get in that final? How did England get in that Euro final? Nobody tell me that wasn't down to pure luck at the end of the day, or a moment of skill. England should never ever have been in that final. They didn't even deserve to get out of their group, but they still made it to the final. A cup is only anything between 6 and 8 games, if I get that right, usually. I think he's got what it takes that we could win a cup. We will definitely need the luck in it, but it's capable. Could he ever win us a league? Give him £1 billion and he still won't win us a league. I just do not think he's got what it takes. And Andrew, what you're saying here, mate, Ange's not learning from his mistakes from last season shows Ange won't adapt. Exactly, mate. That's what I'm saying. That's what a lot of people are saying. And so far, over the friendlies and the first game of the season, he has done nothing to prove he will adapt. Nancy Clark, Timo Werner, Brendan Johnson are trash, and I would call Son world class never. What do you want me to say? The phrase I can use for you, mate, and don't take it as no insult or nothing, he's no shit Sherlock. I think we all know that one. You're 100% right, mate. I can't disagree with you there. But yeah, no shit Sherlock. And Tequila 316. Me and you agree so often, Kate. Sorry about that, honey. At Kate. Okay, fair enough. I take it you two are just having a chat about it. And yeah, laugh out loud. And Elias, big up Dan, big up to you too, mate. And Amin saying, I don't think the players back Ange. That is a question I am asking. And I said it at the start. I personally think he's lost half that dressing room. I don't think he's lost all of it. And I don't think he's lost it in the way that other managers lose it, where they just don't like the manager anymore and he's a prick and he can go. I think what he's losing in that dressing room is certain players don't like the way they're being told to play. And certain players don't like the system. I don't think that's quite losing the dressing room totally. But for me, it's definitely looking at like some players on there. They don't like it. They don't want it. I mean, I'm well behind on the chats here. I will try and catch up. When you go and have about 4 or 5 players on that team playing in the right position, but totally the wrong tactics, it shows. Porro looked pretty good yesterday, but it kept getting inverted and going in the middle. Adoji, that's probably the worst game I've seen him play, doing the same thing. Whereas we all know that if those two were used as overlapping wing backs, you would see so much more out of them. Basuma or Bentancur, whichever one you wish to use. Playing as the box-to-box midfielder, but also covering the 6th position. No. Basuma don't do that. he always covered the 6 here and there, basically. But he was mainly a box-to-box. He'd get the ball, go forward with it, pass it as quick as he could, and get on with it. Or maybe do a little run with it and then pass it on. Bentancur, he was always one who stayed more back as a defensive midfielder, deep line playmaker. But I thought he covered it quite well yesterday from what I saw. And then you go and have Kulusevski out on the right when he should be as an attacking midfield central. And you're just telling players to play the wrong way, not to their peaks, not to their best. You will go and make a quality team look bang average. Look at what happened with Leverkusen. There is your prime example for me. Good team, some good players. But if you want to put a player for player next to Bayern Munich, nah, they don't touch them. A couple of players, maybe. But what Leverkusen did last year was got every single player playing to a formation that suited them, that they liked. And then he got every player in their right position playing to their peak of their ability. And that is why they were so bloody good last year. That is why Atalanta have looked very good over the years, over the past few years in Italy. They do the same thing. You get your average team in the right position, right formation, and playing every player to his prime, to what he's best at, you can make a bang average team actually look like a bloody good team. And like I said, you can make a world-class team look like a pretty poor team. Real Madrid did it a few times when they had, what was it, Galacticos. There was at times where as a team, they were just like, wow, they should be a lot better than that. But some of them were being played out of sync, out of formation, whatever way you want to put it. And it shows. And he does it with a lot of players. And Philly 209, what you're saying there, mate? It is what it is at the end of the day. I'm going to grab my guitar and sing some beautiful melodies. Let's just be positive. Well, we can all try, mate. We've all got our own way. Maybe my way of just being positive last night was sit down and have a beer with a young. And Elias, Ange is completely clueless to me. Even he looked like he was hoping yesterday, and we will win with just some little style and no tactics. And just want to say hello to a couple of others on here quickly on the super chats. Pete, new member, thanks a lot, mate. Much appreciated. And Chang, how you doing, mate? Hope everything's good for you. Thank you. They were both encouraging and disheartening signs. I can see where you're coming from. In that first half, the positive side of that game was in that first half, we should have been 2-3-0 up. That was the positive side of the game for me. But then the negative side totally takes it over that we weren't 3-0 up. And then the negative side totally takes it over that we absolutely fell to pieces and at one point looked like we was going to lose that game. If it wouldn't have been for that injury on Bentancur, I think we would have lost that game. Because again, we just can't handle the bloody pressure. And that's what a lot of it comes down to. And Chang, member for 4 months, it's appreciated, mate. Thank you very much. More of the former, less of the later. We'll be fine. Let's hope we are, mate. And also for Craig Chicken on Basketball. Okay, that's a different name. I'll give you that one. Thanks for the super chat, mate. It's appreciated. It's the first game of the season, for God's sake. Solanke has had a weak team and we need to give him a few games. Right. If you listen to me at the start, I did say I don't hold none of this on Solanke. It's his first game. He didn't look fully fit either. And you've got to give him a game or two to get into the game. On the other side, he cost 65 million. So my man's got about 3 or 4 games with me before I expect him to land on his feet. 65 million. And he knows how to score in the Premiership. I don't think so many people would have had a problem with it being the first game of the season, yeah? If it wouldn't have been exactly the same tactics and we'd have drawn the game and we drew the game exactly the way we did last season. The reason why people are getting worried now, the reason why people are starting to actually look at it and say it is the first game of the season, but nothing has changed. That is the problem. This is what people are getting pissed off with, mate. The fact that absolutely nothing on that pitch has changed by one player. One bloody player. And that is it. But thanks for the super chat, mate. It's well appreciated. So with all of this, the question is, where can we go from here? Where can we go? Because if we do not adapt to this, this is going to struggle big time. So in a minute, I'm going to go through what I personally think the players played through, how they played. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it right. Doesn't mean anyone here gets it right. We've all got our own opinion and we can only go what we see. And one thing I must admit I do love about football, we've all got our own two eyes. There's many a thing I'll see on that pitch that I guarantee half the people on here don't see. But I guarantee there's many a things that happen on that pitch that half the people will see and I won't see it. You could be sitting there next to two of your best mates. Them two will spot something and it will go straight over your head. And you'll be, well, what are you talking about? What are you on about? I didn't see that. But then there'll be something that you spot and your two mates won't spot it. That's just football for you. And that's one thing I love about it. But yeah, first game of the season, nothing has changed. This is why people are bothered, mate. And Lily White Lane, how you doing, mate? Hope everything's good for you. Big up, Dan. Big up to you too. Thought the first half looked really good. It did. The first half did look good. Maddison, Porro, Bentancur looked really good. I'll go with Maddison and Porro on the really good. Bentancur looked good. I wouldn't say really good, but he looked good. He did. He was covering that place well. So I'll go with what you're saying. And the accuracy of the passing was better. Yeah, I agree. Until it got into that final third. And then every time it got into that final third, one of them cocked it up, hands down. But the passing was better overall from what it looked, especially from the back and especially from the middle. I'll agree with you on that one. Second half minute, we conceded. We fell apart for the next 10. Exactly. Yeah, I'll make you right on that, mate. I agree. Especially after that goal. The pressure was coming on us anyway, and we could see that. And then we conceded that goal, and then we just panicked. Absolutely panicked. And then, again, I'll say it again. If Bentancur wouldn't have got that injury, I think they was right on their coming at us, right at their prime time where they would have conceded because we was all over the place. People didn't look like they didn't know whether they were coming or fucking going. And Tequila 316. Players don't like the pressure. Sounds exactly what Conte said. What else do you want me to say? You're right. You're 100% right. They really, it's just what I just said, mate. There is not many players in that team that can handle pressure. Some people, yeah, not just football, but not a lot of people like pressure on them, yeah? I don't like pressure, but I've always worked or done things better when under pressure. Doesn't mean I like the pressure, but I've always worked better under pressure. Whereas other people get that bit of pressure and fall to pieces, but work excellent without the pressure. I don't work excellent without pressure, but I do prefer not having the pressure, if this makes any sense to people. And I think you see players like that as well. Some players, they actually like the pressure. Come on then, give me what you got and I'll show you what I got. Other players obviously don't like the pressure. And then you've got other players who don't like the pressure, but they can handle the pressure. There's not many players in that team that even look like they can handle the bloody pressure, let alone like it, let alone thrive off the pressure. It's just where everybody is different. Everyone's got their ups and downs. Everybody's got their good points. Everybody's got their bad points. So it don't make you less of a person, don't make you less of a player, but some people can actually handle pressure and thrive off it. Some people just can't handle pressure, period. And Lord Rodney, what you're saying here, they need, start again. They need to learn to come alive under pressure, not hide from it. Basically, exactly what I just said, mate. So I'm going to agree with you 100% on that one. And Wolves F1, why Elias has blocked me? I don't think anyone has blocked you. It's because my messages of Donna Cullen and how does he know? Well, I don't know if he has blocked you. I'm blocking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I missed something there, but don't go blocking people just for stupid things. And Elias, what are you saying here? Yesterday's game was purely on Ange. No, it wasn't. If you compare the starting 11, ours is better than theirs. But Ange failed with his tactics. Ange out. Ange's tactics last night, you can say they worked. Ange's tactics worked last night, really, in the way of we should have been 3-0 up at half time. With Ange's tactics, we had plenty of chances on goal. We had 9 corners before the end of the half, and we should have been 3-0 up. So Ange's tactics weren't the problem yesterday, not for the first half anyway. It was the players, purely down to the three up front we had. The midfield done a good job. The defence, did they do a good job? They didn't have a bloody job to do. Even the inverted wing backs done good. Porro, definitely. Adoji, sorry, I'll take that one back. Adoji didn't even look good in the first half, but he didn't look nowhere near as bad as he did in the second half. But everybody looked respectable on the pitch, bar up front. As soon as it got to Son or Johnson or Solanke, it went it went tits up. Simple as that again, basically. Up front, we was terrible yesterday. That's not Ange's system. That's not the tactics. That is down to the players. If the players can't pull their finger out and get their act together when it is needed, then players have got to take some of the blame for this as well. They have. For this game, for me, it was more down to the players. And should have adapted it more in the second half or on the 60 minutes. Yes. But no, yesterday for me was more the players. And Lily White Lane, what you saying here, mate? I disagree, Elias. I'm not Ange's biggest fan and think he's ridiculously stubborn and sometimes just naive. But we put away our chances in the first 45 minutes. We were 3-4 up. 100%, mate. I'm 100% with you on that one. I'll say it again. Ange's system worked in that first half. You cannot say it didn't. The only way you can say it didn't is because the players didn't finish. The players weren't clinical. The players did not do their fucking job. So in this one, we can't slay Ange's system in that first half if it worked. It did. It was the players. And you know me, I'm usually one to go straight for Ange because I do not like the man's tactics at all. But they did work in the first half. We got 9 corners and how many shots? So something must have been going right. Even if that was just Leicester sitting back and just giving us too much respect, whatever way you want to do it, Ange's tactics had us those chances in the first half. He just didn't adapt to what he needed to in the second half. And the Boomverse, big up Dan, big up to you too. And Kate, what you're saying here, and basically saying exactly what I said, Robbie, she's agreeing with you as well, and I'm agreeing with you, Kate. This one was more on the player's head. The whole game overall was more on the player's head, not just the first half, overall. But Ange should have adapted in that second half. And Eamon, I'm sick and tired of this double inverted fullbacks. Mate, I've been sick and tired of it since the first 8 games. I complained about it after about 8 games and carried on complaining about it all season. I don't like it. Not with 2 of them. Just at least 1 of them. Not bloody 2 of them. And Finn Rickwood saying morning all, morning to you, mate. And Elias, what are you saying to Lily White here? Then what let us down yesterday? Your opinion. Pure misfortune? No, it was the players that let us down yesterday more than anything. Yes, Ange had his bit to do with it, but it was more the players. And Lily White, if we don't beat Everton, I worry about the lack of confidence in the team heading to Newcastle and the game against Woolwich. Mate, if we don't beat Everton, you could see some serious trouble here quickly, I think. Because like I said at the start, we haven't got these 10 games to cover us. Not that we did last season. The reason last season did not look as bad. Yes, we finished 5th, fair enough. But those first 10 games covered our ass in a big, big way. Because from the second half of the season, what was we ranked? 14th, 15th, 16th even? I can't remember the exact number. If someone tell me. We was well past the lower half of the table. We was terrible towards the end of that season. On 2 separate occasions, we lost 4 out of 5 games. That is not good enough. And Lee Moody, too many chances wasted, and that's what cost us. 100%, mate. I agree. And nothing changed. Bergvall looks good. I must admit, Bergvall came on. He looked respectable. Yes, looked like there was a bit of pressure on him as well. But on the ball, that Bergvall, he looks natural on the ball. It's going to take a fair bit of time to show how natural he is on it. But at the moment, I would say he looks quite natural on the ball. That Archie Gray, however, for me, I think he's got a long way to come before his Premiership standards. But again, it's all personal opinion at the end of the day. But I think that Bergvall looks more prepared than he does. I think that Bergvall, at the moment, he looks prepared to bring on, like Ange did bring him on with 20 minutes to go, who could possibly make a difference. And apart from that, out the subs, and apart from Kulusevski coming on, who else out of those subs actually looked like they could make a difference to that team? I thought when the subs come on, we actually looked worse. And Elias, Ainsley Moody, how about 13 set pieces? We're clearly not that good at those. No, we didn't concede from a set piece either, did we? At least we didn't concede from a free kick. I mean, this is another one we will see in the games to come. Has he adapted his zonal marking and everything? This is what we'll see more in the next 5 games. There's certain things we're not going to be able to judge it on the first game. I get that. And it's going to show over the next 5 games. But we keep saying it, mate, he's got to adapt. Come on, Ange, pull your finger out, otherwise you are gone by January. And Anton, what you're saying there, mate, Ange is taking the piss, gas confiscated off of him, good content, but Ange this season is a fraud watch. Yep, I'll agree with you with that, mate. I don't think he's going to be here by Christmas, but who knows? Let's just be hopeful here that he does. And Philly 2109, Spurs had plenty of opportunities. I was expecting Timo Werner to come on like Mighty Mouse and save the day. Unfortunately, it was meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. But let's be positive. Yes, mate, I'm getting the picture. Timo Werner. I mean, this is one of the biggest things why Ange gets grilled off to me. He complained about last season that we weren't clinical enough up front and the job wasn't getting done up front. Like last night, again, not clinical enough up front. So, right, you've got a problem up front where your players aren't clinical enough. You either need a better striker, or you also need inside wingers that can score, or you also need inverted forwards that can score, whatever you want to bloody call them. So he goes and re-signs Timo fucking Werner. Now, I've had a lot of people say to me, why do you have to keep bringing that one up? Why do I have to keep bringing it up when my manager, who I'm meant to back up, goes and re-signs a player like Timo Werner? Yet people will back that up. Yeah, but it's what Ange wants. Well, if that is what Ange wanted, then Ange definitely, he's not as sharp as some people think. I mean, realistically, even people who sit here and try and make it right, give me a right reason on why to re-sign Timo Werner. I could even get why we got him for the first 6 months. I mean, he's 100% a poor man's son. He plays exactly how Son plays. He's a poor man's son. I got the idea of why we signed him for the first 6 months. I'd have still rather just played a youth player, but that's me. So I understood the first six months, but then to go and re-sign him again. Hang on a minute. That was Levy who did that. Oh, okay. That weren't Ange, that was Levy. But then when we go and get a player like Solanke, we go and get a player like Gray and whoever else, none up. That's Ange who wants them. Ange picked them. They're for Ange's system. He knows more about his system than you. Well, make your fucking mind up, people. Who's running it? Is it Ange or is it Levy? Or are they both doing a bit of it? I personally believe are both a bit of doing it. But again, I just hold Ange to his word. I mean, and either one of them, Levy or Ange, re-signing Werner, they should both be hung, drawn, and quartered. And for that one, they really should. Maybe a bit deep for some people, but seriously, that has got to be one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in football when it comes to signing people. To re-sign a Timo Werner. Yeah, hung, drawn, and quartered. Get the stones out as well. And Ring Tick Sport, what you're saying here, big up, Dan. We should have been 4-0 up after the first half. Yeah, 2-3, 4-0, whatever, mate. We should have done that in the first half. This is why it was down to the players. And North London Narratives, how you doing, mate? And Dan, we are cooked. Yes. 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 Our next run of games, we play Everton, Newcastle, Arsenal, Brentford, Man U, Brighton, West Ham, Palace, Villa, Ipswich, Man City. Strap in, guys, because these are going to be for a long ride. Ange did warn us that his first season is always a bumpy ride, but his second season he wins things and it's not such a bumpy ride. Well, it doesn't look like it's not going to be a bumpy bloody ride, does it? Just looking at those ones you say there. Everton, we should beat Everton. We should. We're better than them. But then we should have just destroyed Leicester. So am I so confident about the Everton game now? I am wary. I still think we will win that one. But there's also that other side of me which definitely knows we can quite easily draw or lose that one. I think that's the scare of a lot of the games we play now. Even the games that we should win quite easily, and some of them we do, I've now always looking over my shoulder because of the tactics of how things can go tits up very, very quickly. Even against a team like Leicester, even against a team like Everton. Newcastle, I am not looking forward to that one in the slightest. They had half their team when they played us last team and absolutely destroyed us. If Ange hasn't adapted his tactics, Newcastle would just play the same way again and destroy us totally with the pace of Gordon and Isak down the middle. They will absolutely destroy us again. Arsenal, let's just not even go there. The positive side of the Arsenal one I'll give is it is Arsenal. And people are going to say, how do you see that as positive? When it comes to a Spurs-Arsenal game, one could be at the top of the table, one could be at the bottom of the table. I know you can say any game can come down to what actually happens on the day. But on an Arsenal-Spurs game, you can forget the rest of the season, what's happened and everything. It is usually down to that game. Anything is possible in that game. That's my positive side of it. Do I see us winning it? No, I don't. Brentford, another game we should win. We should win that game. But you look after yesterday, you know whatever's possible. But Brentford, we should win that. Man U is not going to be an easy game. Man U are out for a fight this season. No, didn't look great on their first game. But what? We did. Man U is going to be a very hard game. Brighton, always a hard team to play against. It's a game we can win, but that's a game we can easily lose. West Ham, I am not looking forward to playing these boys. Not at all. Pace they've got up the sides. They've also got some better players on the pitch. Their first 11 is now better. I'm not looking forward to playing West Ham. We can get a draw out of that. Palace is a team I think we should beat. But again, it's another London derby, basically the same as the West Ham one, same as the Arsenal one. It's going to be a very tough game. Villa, I think they will beat us. Ipswich, we should destroy them. And Man City is Man City, isn't it? So we don't really need to go any further on that. And Finn Rickwood, it is so worrying how wasteful we still are. And Brian saying, we need a CDM to protect the defence. Yes, we do, mate, but we don't play with a 6. We don't play with a defensive midfield. So at the end of the day with it, it doesn't really matter. Everyone has been screaming for a DM and a 6 and everything else, but we don't play with one. So we can all rant as much as we want about it. We don't play with one. So, and Elias, Ange's tactics weren't good. He can go into the box, yes, but our inbox play and tactics aren't even organised. Everything looks so messy in the box. Everything looks so messy on the pitch overall with his tactics. But again, that was down to the players yesterday. We should have scored 3 goals in that first half. And Brian Romero is more of a captain. 100% agree with you, mate. 100% agree. Son is just not my sort of captain material. I don't want a captain that goes up to the player on the pitch, gives him a kiss on the cheek and says, come on, you can do better than that. Maybe that's what some players need. I know. Like I've said, everybody is different. I'm still more of an old school man that wants a Roy Keane to go up to the player, get him up by the scruff of the neck, slap him in the face if he has to, and say, pull your fucking finger out. You're getting 150 grand here. I want to win this game. We want to win this game. Get your act together or get off the pitch. That is what I want my captain to do. I always look at it like the captain is meant to do the job for the manager on the pitch. Not that Ange looks like he does much of a job on the side of the pitch. Might as well give him a straw and a bloody can of Foster's at times. But he does look like he's getting a little bit more involved. And Mark Cook, smash the likes, everyone. Thanks, mate. It's appreciated. Lias, that's the reason we didn't pose any threat from set pieces either. Well, do we ever? And George is saying there, unpopular opinion, Romero isn't great in the air. No, I don't think he's great in the air either. It's not his strongest bit. And same with Van der Ven. He is not good in the air at all. That is not his strongest bit either. Every player has the ups and downs. I totally agree with you. And Wall saying, morning, Brian. And Phantom saying, Johnson is the worst winger in the league. I don't know about the worst winger, but he's definitely down there with the worst, or up there with the worst, whatever way you want to put it. I think he's fucking useless. I really do. He just, the quicker we get rid of that fella, the better, but we won't. And Rich saying, I don't like goalies as captain. No, it's something I've never liked either. But seeing Vicario laying into Bergvall, I thought he was showing the right level of passion and leadership we need from captain. I agree, but I just don't want another goalkeeper as captain. This is where, for me, our only real captain material is Romero. And Philly, Spurs don't need a midfielder. We are good enough to finish third in the next 10 days of the window, just formality. Yeah, we sure are, mate. And then Joe27, big up, Dan. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well as well. And Pollard saying Son is starting to realise his skill set and his career is fading. Slowly but surely, sadly, it will. It does for every player. And Son is one of those players who relies heavily on pace. And I relate him to a Michael Owen type of player. Look how good Michael Owen was. Was he skillful? No. Could he dribble the ball well? Not really. What he was very good at doing was knocking the ball past with his pace, getting past the player, and he was very good at putting it in the back of the net. That is basically what Son is for me. That is why I've never classed him as world class. Son's starting to lose his pace. He's starting to show on the pitch. The best way I feel to start playing Son when he loses a bit more pace, because I think he can still do the job from where he is at the moment, would be to just have him hovering around on the outside of the pitch, take a chance when you got it, take a shot when you got it, because Son can bury that ball with either foot. His shooting over the years has basically been one of the top 3 in the world. His finishing is clinical. And that is where I think he's going to have to adapt his game to just being more of a player that hangs about on the outside of the box. But at the moment, I still think Son has got the pace to play us from the left. But you can definitely see he is losing a few yards. And Rintig, may I maybe join or maybe on a future show? Yeah, on a future show, mate. I'll have you on here without a doubt. That's not a problem. We'll tell you what I'd do. What is the time? 11:41. So I've got a little bit more time. I'm going to put a link on here. I haven't even gone into the players yet. I'm going to put a link on here. If you come on here, show your camera, give me your opinion about the game. There's the link. I'll have a couple of people on there. Eugene, if you're watching, jump on with that, mate. The link's on there as well. And I'll get a couple of opinions on someone else. Renee, if you want to come on now and give me your opinion on it, you know what, mate? Go for gold. And Capone79, big up Dan the man, big up to you too, mate. Hope you're having a good morning. And Phil P, morning. Dan, morning to you too. Hope all is well. Apart from last night, everything's fine. Apart from the obvious, I'm gutted. But we're being consistent. Hence why for Europe is our maximum. Yeah. But losing 2 points like that, it's going to struggle us to even get to Europe. And Elias saying to Rich, yes, he was, yet there was people moaning saying he shouldn't be out for 18-year-olds. That's what you two are talking about. TC, Vardy won't be fit, but still, yeah, the thing is with Vardy, he's another one of those ones. Give him 37, let him be 47. He'll still be able to finish the ball because he always could. And Vardy wasn't fit, but still outshone Solanke. Yes, but Solanke, we're going to have to give him a chance. Give him a couple of games. Give him a couple of games on here. And then start judging him after about 5 games, I would say. Just give him a little bit of time to settle. Because he didn't look totally fit either yesterday, I wouldn't have said. And it's his first game that he's played with this team. So give him a bit of leeway. But 65 million, he hasn't got long. And Rob, what you're saying here, mate, Solanke wasn't turned in just yet. Especially headers timing off the pitch time with the squad is needed. Yes, but we've got no one who can cross the bloody ball. That's the problem. And Tony Johnson is the biggest waste of 50 million in human history. He's definitely up there, mate. He's definitely up there. I mean, he set up a couple yesterday. He scored a couple yesterday. But not yesterday, last season. Sorry, let me start again. He scored a couple last season, whatever, but they was all tap-ins. The goals he scored, half of them, I could have put them in. And then half the ones he missed were harder to miss than they were to bloody score. Anyone should be able to score from the goals he scored last season, bar maybe one of them. And the thing is, I expect a player to at least have a solid 80 minutes in a game. There is only 2 players on that pitch, for me, that can go missing for 90 minutes. And that is a goalkeeper and that is a striker. Why? because you need that striker to do his job of put it in the back of the net when it comes to it. As long as he puts it in the back of the net, nobody cares. Goalkeeper, he can go missing for 95 minutes. As long as he makes that save when it matters, that's all that matters. Rest of the team, you need your team playing. As all Johnson's ever done is give us 5 minutes of where he's looked all right, and that's it. And then he got better as the season went on and gave us an odd 10 minutes here and there. Johnson is not good enough for that fucking first team. And I don't think he's going to be getting any better. And Humble Frog, yeah, Johnson was putrid. He's shit. And Philly 2109, behave. Johnson and Son and Solanke had blinders. Mate, they was excellent. I totally agree. All right, I'm going to bring guest on here as he wishes to speak his bit. Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Same Spurs, different day for me. Yourself?
So I heard from a previous show you did your coaching badges, right?
Yeah, about 15 years ago.
No, I actually have a point with this. So I'm actually doing them right now. Watching from the pitch side, it's harder to adapt with tactics and stuff. But one thing that pisses me off was Ange after the game. He was like, "We made the same mistake as we did last season." He went out and said that. Why? We all know this has been an issue for a while, and you didn't try something new during preseason, and you expect us to believe you can win something with the same tactics that didn't work last season. So it's. I don't know what I feel about Ange right now, to be honest.
So do you think Ange can actually adapt? Do you think he can actually adapt to this season to make it better?
I think it might be too late. What I mean by that, what I mean about that, he wants to win stuff right this season. He said himself.
Mm-hmm.
Then he should have adapted already, tried something new during preseason. To be honest, let's put it this way. Both, okay. At least I wouldn't give a flying monkey if we lost against Kobe if he tried something completely new.
Mm-hmm.
If he played 3 at the back, 4 at the back, new formation, anything. I wouldn't care if we lost against Kobe, Motherwell, or whoever, but we won.
It would give you something to be enthusiastic about, wouldn't it? To show that he's trying to adapt, which he had all last season to do.
Exactly. And when I watched Liverpool, they were trying something new and they were doing pretty well. Man City, they played very well under a new formation thingy against Chelsea, and that worked. So I don't know why Ange is so stubborn and won't try.
I think it's just the way he is, mate. When it comes down to it, I think that is just the way he is, and I think you're not going to see him. You're not going to see him change. So where do you think the game went right yesterday? Where do you think the game went wrong yesterday? Just to get another perspective out of this, another opinion. What do you think went right with the game? What do you think went wrong with the game?
To be honest, the first half, I thought we looked pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
But there were one situation in the first half when, because of the high line we have, we could see it was 3 against 2. And Mickey and Kuti were at the halfway line. I was like, this is a goal. I was like, this is a goal. And because no, this is no disrespect to Leicester, but because those guys.
But they are a club we should be beating. It's not disrespectful.
Yeah.
It's just it is what it is. We should be beating games like
that. If that was a Man City instead, that 3 against 2, if that was Doku, Haaland, and let's say Silva, for example, they would have 100% scored. But because it's Leicester and they aren't as good, they missed that chance. And yeah, that's what I meant about it. Yeah, I don't think even a DM would work. A DM would work, but we can't. Even if we have a DM with 3 people, that And if they are still at the high, like halfway line, we will still be like run over.
Basically, his defending style, one way or another, is going to
Yeah.
get screwed over, is what he's saying. Right, I
Yeah.
just want to say hello to a couple of super chats. EdX, thanks a lot, mate. It's much appreciated. Thank you very much. Very generous. And what he's saying here is thank you for your honest analysis, content, consistency, and your reason. Well, thanks, mate. It's much appreciated. Thank you very much. And Craig Chicken on a basketball. I must admit, mate, that is a strange name. Our players don't take the initiative to take shots. They think they can only score from the 6-yard box, same as last year. Too many passes in the box. Now, with this one, I agree, mate. It does look that way.
Yeah.
But are they playing that way because Ange wants them to play that way? I see them more playing that way because that's how Ange seems to want to do it. He wants to walk it into the back of the net. He wants to be the new Arsene Wenger. Only difference is Arsene Wenger knew how to defend and everything. And Arsene Wenger was one of the main ones who started that up. Not that it had never been done before, but he was one of the main ones who started the system up. Hold on to it and then basically tap it and walk it into the goal. And that seems to be what Ange wants to do. We should be taking more shots from outside that box. Yeah. When it is that packed up in there and you know you ain't going to pass it through there, even if you've got the best pass on the planet, do you know what? Take a fucking chance. Have a shot. I'll have more respect for the player if he takes the shot outside the box and it goes sky over than if he tries passing it into the middle of 10 people in the box. We got to take more chances. And we don't. And Maddison always did. Son used to have a few cracks outside the box. Same as Kulusevski even used to. But we don't seem to do that anymore. So is that where the players have lost the idea on how to do it? Or is that more on the fact that it's the system? I mean, what would you say about that one?
Like right now when I'm coaching like 12-year-olds, we even tell the center backs to shoot from outside the box. And then if the attackers are good enough, they would take the rebound and that kind of stuff. But like we don't even have that chance now when like we wait until there's like 8 people inside the box. Like there were like yesterday there were a few times like Maddison should have shot, but he still decided to pass inside the box. Like why?
Because that's what he's been told to do, I think. Because Maddison don't usually play like that. Yes, he puts the balls in the box, over in the box, but he also always did have a crack from outside the box as well. And apart from the first 10 games, 8 games even, he just don't seem to do that anymore. Nobody does, apart from once in a blue moon.
Do you think the tactics also affect the transfers? What I mean by that, let's say like, okay, I know like he just changed his number to number 10, and you don't number 11, and you don't like leave your club because of after such a big exchange. But Openda, for example, everyone would love him at Spurs, but he wouldn't fit the Ange system because we wouldn't give him space to make his runs. It's the same with one of my favorites, Baumgartner. He also loves space, but no one would give him space. Like, do you think like players from outside would be like, yes, Spurs wants me, but
they don't like the system?
Yeah, exactly.
I could totally agree with you. It's like I said to you earlier, where I used to play as a goalkeeper, then a defender, well, right back, and then a defensive midfielder. If I was a defender and playing this way, and even a goalkeeper, I would not want to play like this. I would not like these tactics. Surely for any defender, this has just got to be horrible to play like this. And I think the other problem we will see soon enough, because again, Van der Ven done some good covering ground like he did yesterday. But you know, his hamstring is going to go. You know his hamstring is going to go, and then we are going to be on shit street.
I was going to say that, like, yes, Salva and you have said a few times, like, we're more afraid about Mickey's hamstring going, and then we'll have like 2 solid like starters and no one to rotate with.
Exactly. And Dragusin cannot cover Van der Ven. The other problem we got in defence, Dragusin is good. And I think he's got potential to be a very good defender. But the thing is with him, is he's very, I mean, what was the phrase somewhere? He's very robotic like. He's actually quick, he's good on the ball, he's good at getting forward, he's solid in the air with the ball. But his problem is he can't just turn around and run. He needs to basically do a whole loop before he can get back. He's not good on his toes as such. Whereas you look at Van der Ven, he can literally do that and he's already running the other way. Van der Ven comes off. Is there really a player on the planet that can do, defender on the planet that can do what Van der Ven has to do?
No.
I can't even think of another player on the planet that could do that. I mean,
I can, but not the same quality.
No, of course. I mean, basically, the fella is a freak of nature with his pace. That is just unreal. Yeah. He should be in the X-Men or something. I don't know. I mean, his pace. And to play that way, you need his pace through and through. And without that, we have got absolutely no cover there whatsoever.
Sorry, Brian. I saw you were here earlier, but Phillips ain't good enough. I wouldn't trust Phillips over like 10 games or something. This is no like this. So disrespect either. He's like 18 as well.
Yeah, but it's then like, so's Archie Gray. So's Bergville.
Yeah.
This is meant to be a youth academy team that we're bringing it up through the youth. We've decided to do a youth system now, yeah? So we do this youth system and not one fucking youth player started yesterday.
Yeah. And the thing with like, even Mikey Moore and Langshaw was not even on the bench, right? If I'm not mistaken, they didn't even get called up.
No.
No,
like they didn't. And we're meant to be playing. I mean, who knows? In due time, they might get played more. But I don't even think Ange is in a situation where he can afford to bring these players into the games unless he's winning a game clearly 3-1 or 3-0 or 2-0 with 10 minutes to go. Because the pressure is on him big time. And with drawing a game like this, it puts the pressure on him even more. Can he even afford to use those youth players? Can he take the chance of starting with Archie Gray instead of Basuma or Bentancur there? Unless it's in, say, a League Cup game against a League One or a Championship side. Is he even going to take those chances? Because surely he must know himself that he can't be that ignorant or naive, that surely that he knows that if we are not in a significantly respectable place by Christmas, which looks like we could still get top 4, history shows he's off. Maybe not. Maybe leaving that going to stick by him. But history says he will be off in January if he doesn't pull his finger out.
But it's kind of like he said after the press conference, like we did the same mistake again or whatever. Like I'm paraphrasing, I only heard it from someone else. But why did I would have been happy if he played, for example, Bentancur, Bergvall, and Madison, for example, and then Sonny, Solanke, Moore. I would have been pretty happy with that. Because at least he showed like he would try something new instead of like beating the same bush or something. I agree.
I think a few people would have looked at that and thought, oh, do you know what? Bit of a gamble there, but do you know what? Okay, you're trying something different. But my side of this is that's what last season was for. Last season was meant to be the bumpy ride where he messes about with everything, looks at what players are right, what players are wrong, what he can mess about with, what he can do, and works out for the next season. This is what a lot of people kept saying. It's the first season. It's the bumpy ride. He changed nothing. He just did the same thing all season and basically played the same players all season. Whenever he could, played the same 11 that he could. He didn't mess about with nothing. I mean, how many youth players actually, or youth players, young players, whatever you want to call them, bar Doji and Sarr, actually got a start? None of them. And how many minutes did they get between them? I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't a lot.
They came in like 70 something.
I think all it was later than that. Them. Yeah, I think
was it even later.
Yeah, I think it was later than that. And that comment here, David Clark, how you doing, mate? I Hope the morning's good for you. Well, coming on to afternoon now, actually. Yeah. Don't time fly when you're talking about fun. And these young players will thrive when they come onto the pitch, when Spurs have control of a game. To bring them on when the game turned against us is crazy. Okay, I can see where you're coming from there, yeah? But if these players are good enough to play, then they've got to be able to good enough to handle the pressure. If Archie Gray is this spectacular player that everyone keeps telling me that he's going to walk into that first team and totally take Basuma's place, whatever, where was he at the start yesterday? On the subs bench. He should have started if he was that good. I'd have had more respect for Ange if he'd have actually started Gray. Not that I'd have wanted him to. And like you said, we're starting, say, Bergvall or Moore or Donley, whatever, because then it shows that he's sticking to this youth system that we're meant to be going through now, this process, which he showed absolutely nothing of it yesterday. Nothing at all. And if the players are good enough to play, Dave, then the players should be good enough to play when we're in control of a game and also when we're not in control of a game. If these players are not ready to come on the pitch when we're not in control of the game, then are they even ready to come on the pitch full stop? I get what you mean. Don't drop them in the thick of it, but life's a bitch. It's not all friendly. There's a lot of things in life that should be done the way it should be, but it ain't. I should be able to leave my front door open and my car door open without it getting chawed, but I can't. I leave my front door open, I have some strange person standing in my front room. I leave my car door open, I have no car. I should be able to, but you can't. We all know things like this in life, and football work like that, what should and shouldn't be. But as far as I'm concerned, if they're good enough to come on when we're bossing a game, they've got to be good enough to come on when we're not bossing a game. I mean, how do you feel on that one?
No, I actually agree, because like for over like 24 hours before the game, I argued with someone on Twitter. I was like, because I said something, because someone else posted something like this player will fit Spurs. I was like, it won't fit Spurs if they don't adapt to the system or something. And then I also brought in like, also if it's a youth player, we need to make sure he's still like good, because I have said multiple times, Lucas Bergvall was decent for you, Gordon, but he wasn't like, wow, one of the best or something. He wasn't. And someone tried to argue with me. Sorry for the background noise. Someone tried to argue with me like he's one of the best or something. And then they were like, yeah, the other players were way better. I was like, no, they were kind of similar. And
Do you think the subs we made us look any better?
No. And sorry for like making my point this long. And
right.
So
say it as you see it.
No. So like, Bible, people like some fans expect him to come in and be like the next Yamal or something, or the next Zidane or something. That's how I saw it. Like you have seen it, like you have seen it yourself.
Mate, that is how Spurs fans work. As soon as we sign a player, even if it's a player that nobody's ever heard of or he hasn't been mentioned through the whole transfer market, all of a sudden it becomes the next best thing since sliced bread. We are terrible for it. One of the worst at it, without a doubt. Right, I haven't got much longer left. This is why I had to do the show earlier. So I'll go through this with you quickly then, yeah? Because I've got about another 20 minutes max. Right, we'll start from goalkeeper. Vicario. Personally, got the good saves in when it mattered. I think he stopped us losing that game, basically, because he made one brilliant save in that game, where he got down to his left-hand side, where he was going to the right-hand side and looked very good with it. And I would personally give him an 8, because I don't think he done nothing particular wrong during the game. I think he was loud enough during the game, and I think he made 2-3 solid saves that actually worked out, saving us the game. So what would you say about his game, and what would you rate him?
8 as well, I would say, actually. Yeah, like I agree. Like he wasn't like world class elite something, but he was still like top.
Okay, so with Porro then, I'll go over to Porro. Me personally, I give Porro a 7, because I thought he had a very good first half. He obviously scored the goal as well, which always helps on your ratings. And with that as well, I thought he had quite a solid game until that goal that went in, because I think he was partly to blame with that, along with Romero.
Yeah.
And then, bar him getting his knock, I thought he was one of the better players we had on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would also say like 7, 8, probably.
Yeah, I
But
don't think I'll
yeah,
go as far as
I
an
would
8,
say
but a 7.
7, 8 something. Yeah,
Okay.
he did pretty well.
So go over to Romero now. I mean, for me, I give Romero a 5. And for me, that's being nice. This world-class player, I expect better off of him. In the first half, he didn't look a problem. But why? Because there was nothing on him. But as soon as the pressure came on the pitch and as soon as it started coming down our end, he looked like he lost his mind a bit. And then for the goal, I say he was one of the one most to blame for it. And he just didn't look like he got his act together. So I'd give him a 5.
Yeah, 5, 4. And yeah, it's the same there with Romero, like Spurs fan says. Like, he's one of the best, world class, whatever, but world class defenders do it like week in, week out. And we saw it like yesterday, Romero had like a dip.
This is why I don't class him as world class. Very, very good defender, but still he has too many bad purple patches as such. And that's why I don't class him as world class. Right. So for me, Van der Ven, I'll give him a 6. Reason being, he didn't do much wrong. He covered our ass a couple of times, like he always does. But I don't think he done anything particularly special in the game either. I mean, that first
I
half,
agree.
he had nothing
5.
to do anyway. The 5.
5.
So you think he was as
Yeah.
bad as Romero?
I just think like because he couldn't do anything like to prove his worth. And we even like when it was like those like 3 against 2 situations that like they didn't have to do much because Leicester fumbled the ball themselves.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Okay, so now I'll go to Adoji then. I mean, for me, Adoji gets a 3. And I think that's actually being fucking nice.
I was gonna say 3 as well.
Yeah, because Adoji, first half, didn't show up how bad he was because we didn't have the pressure on us. The second half was where it really started to show how bad he actually played. He lost that ball countless times, missed tackles, missed passes. I thought he had an absolute poor game yesterday. One of our worst players on the pitch.
We should have got an early yellow card because he pulled someone down as well. He lost the ball and the other guy were like running and he just pulled him down.
You know what? With that
should
one, I
have been
won't.
on yellow.
That one I won't complain because sometimes you got to take one for the team.
Yeah, of
And
course.
if you
No,
get beaten,
no, like
you know,
no, I meant like that. It was kind of his fault. Let's put it that way. Like, let's say
yeah, I agree.
if let's say if Son lost the ball and Udogi did that for the team, then like I wouldn't mind. But this time it was like his fault.
Yeah, it was his fault, but what he
yeah.
took was for the team, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That one I can deal with that. Yeah, I mean, okay, at least he tried to do that. I can deal with that. But for me, he gets a 3. I thought he was fucking terrible yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, so from there we go over to Sarr. I mean, for me, I give Sarr a 6. He looked respectable on the pitch. First half, he looked like he knew what he was doing. He was getting involved. But then second half, I think he totally evaporated. And it also looked like he wasn't quite fit enough in the second half. He lost his fitness and needed to come off.
I didn't see him. Like, it was one of those, like, I didn't really see him in the second half.
Yeah, like, that's why he came off.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, he was a 6. Maybe. I'd say a lot of movement. He tried, but you didn't really see much come out of it. So,
but that's his thing, to be honest. Like running around and stuff. That's Sarr's main thing.
I don't actually know what Sarr is actually solid at as such.
Running, trying
He
to
seems
be a B version of Conte.
he seems like a bit of a all-round sort of player that doesn't quite know the best of himself yet. That's how he comes across to me. I don't think no one actually knows what he's actually solid at. Is he better as a DM?
He's still
No, I wouldn't
young,
say he is. Of course he is, yeah. But I'm just saying what he is at the
He's
moment.
21.
Is he a DM? No, I wouldn't say so. But is 21 that young? He's a professional football
not
player.
really.
Is he a central mid? Is he a box to box? Is he an attacking midfield central? I don't think we actually know, and I don't think he actually knows what is his prime position yet, what he is actually best at. And for that, like I say, time will tell with him, but I'll give him a 6. He didn't have a bad game, but he didn't have a brilliant game either. Bentancur, however, I'll give him a 7. Reason being, I don't think he looked special on the pitch, but I think he looked good at what he did. And I thought he actually done a significantly better job than Basuma does of doing the box-to-box, but also covering the 6. And also him getting knocked out for that time actually saved our ass, I think. So I'd give him a 7.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. Yes, 7 sounds decent. Yeah, I was thinking around 7 because, yeah.
Okay, so I'll go over to Maddison now quickly then. And for me, Maddison gets an 8. Why we took him off, unless he was getting tired or whatever, which to me he didn't look like it. But to me, everything that happened good on that pitch went through Maddison. And I would give him an 8. He was excellent passing. He was excellent pass for the goal for Porro to get it. And in my opinion, he shouldn't have come off unless he was getting that tired. And for me, he didn't look like he was.
No. I think it's because like Ange doesn't want to play Babel as an 8. I think it's that. I think that was the reason, probably.
I mean, fair enough. I just thought taking Maddison off was just stupid. Absolutely stupid.
I agree.
But I'll go over to Johnson now, and I'll just be straight with Johnson. I'll give him a 2. He was absolutely shit. No crossing, one run, basically. Every time he got the ball, he either passed it back or sideways. And the only time he actually got the ball past his man was when he kicked it past him and off the bloody pitch. Apart from that, I thought he was fucking awful. I thought Johnson was terrible.
The only Johnson memory I have was when he did that like slide tackle and took the ball. That's like the only thing I remember from him yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. There was that moment as well. Apart from that, he was abysmal yesterday. So, do you agree with 2?
Yeah, I would say 2.
Yeah, he was that piss poor. And Werner, we'll go to him. So I'll go over to Son, and for me, Son gets a 3 because I expect better off of Son. For me, Son, he just did not look capable on the ball. I think he had one good cross. He wasn't any good at dribbling the ball, which he isn't anyway. He wasn't even good at running past the player. He weren't getting the shots on. His captaincy was poor. He just didn't look like he was captaining the pitch. The players, he weren't giving them no boost. Like, come on, boys, get your act together. For me, Son gets a 3. I thought he was absolutely crap yesterday.
Yeah, like, to be honest, like, Son, like, if his name was like X instead and Johnson were like Y, they both were like on the similar level. Like, you barely saw them and they couldn't. And the only one who I actually saw like crossing the ball, it was Maddison, like driving the ball forward, and the other two were just like there on the pitch and doing nothing, kind of.
Yeah,
so I
totally
will agree on that too.
So Solanke, you know what? I'm going to be nice with the fella. I'm going to give him a 5. The reason I give Solanke a 5 is because he tried. You saw him trying to get into positions. You saw him at least go for a diving header. Yes, he totally missed it, but he at least tried. He tried to get into that game. I don't think he got fed enough of the ball, but
No.
I thought Solanke, sorry, he had a poor game, but he tried. At least you saw the player make the effort. He was trying to get into spaces. He was trying to do things. And he didn't quite look fit enough. It was his first game, so I'm going to be nice and give him a 5.
Yeah, I would agree. And this is also down to because of the poor performance on the wingers, because they couldn't pass him or like even give him the ball. And one time I can't even remember, like when he had the ball, he was like his back was towards the goal, and no one, he could pass the ball to no one. So
Okay. All right,
yeah,
just with a comment on here, Alex got experience. You don't know what you're talking about, Dan. Romero was not at fault for that goal. Go and watch it again. Believe me, Romero was big part at fault for that
yeah,
goal. He was not where he should have been. He was looking elsewhere. He didn't even jump for it. He didn't even make an effort for it. So Son was partly to fault for that. I'm not saying Romero was partly to fault for that. I'm not saying he was the only one at fault for it, but he was definitely a big part of the problem of the goal. Go watch it again. Maybe you'll get a different opinion. Maybe you won't. So you agree with Solanke as a 5, yeah?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's
So
a later, there's a later comment from TC. He wrote, "Very poor debut for the new striker. Wadis was unfit and old, but outshined him, and that was with little service. But Vardy knows the system. Solanke don't.
he does. Yep, I agree. That's a good point.
Solanke don't. It was like his first 90 minutes, or how many minutes he played now yesterday.
No, I
Like
agree.
it, I would agree with TC if we bought him like 5 months ago or something, like before the preseason, more or less.
Well, the
But
other thing I don't get with Solanke, 65 million, yeah, for someone who tries. I get what you're saying, TC, but it is his first game, and at least he did bloody try. But if that's all he does for the season, then no, that's not good enough. But in that aspect, I will give him it is the first game. But right, so we go over to the subs that we made. First one I say is Werner. For me, I'll give him a 3. He run with the ball once, and then the rest of it, he just looked like Timo Werner. And that's
yeah,
all I have to say on that, basically.
I agree.
And a 3 is a 3. He looked like Timo Werner. So,
Yeah.
so yeah. So you're not going to get better than a 3 anyway. So Timo Werner's Timo Werner. And
No,
Archie Gray.
Sorry, Dan. Lord Ronnie, to be honest, I don't have a lot of hopes on Solanke, to be honest. I wasn't even happy with his signing, because like when people were like saying he's a Chelsea reject, or no, when Salah and KDB was also Chelsea reject, but they left because they wanted game time. Solanke got kicked out with his head out first.
But he did also play 20 odd games with Liverpool and only score 1 goal.
Yeah. And then he got kicked out with his head out first.
And he's basically had 1 good season in the Premiership. I mean, 19 goals last season, played well, especially with the team he was with and that. If he can score at least 15 goals for us and do it for the next 3 seasons straight, then okay. And a striker at the moment is just bloody hard to find. So, like I say, I'm going to give Solanke a chance on that one. But again, with Werner, just Timo Werner in it. So I give him a 3.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think there's much more you can say. Now with Archie Gray, when he came on, I mean, this is where people say you have to be soft his first game as well. So I'll accept that. And he's only young, whatever. Well, if he's only young and he's not good enough yet, he should not be. He shouldn't even be on the subs bench.
But people were hyping him. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
But people were hyping up Gray because he had a good game against Chelsea last year, and ain't Chelsea better than Leicester? And wasn't like Gray played in the championship last season, and Leicester also did, and that was championship level.
Mm-hmm. And also with Archie Gray, he didn't even make it in the championship first 11. So
he didn't.
What was it really that good? For 40 million? No, I don't think it is. I think that's a terrible buy for 40 million. because we need players now. Do I think he can be good in 2 years? Yes, I do. But is he ready for it now? I think yesterday showed again. He didn't look confident on there as far as I was concerned. But I also get the idea of what others have said. You dropped him right in the middle of it. But if you're good enough to play, you should be good enough to play whether it's in your favour or against your favour. You should be good enough to come on and play at any time. But I do also get with bringing players into the games as such, slowly but surely. It is a tricky situation. But I'll give him a 5 because he came on, he tried, he got about the place, he put the effort in, and yeah, I'll give him a 5.
Yeah. 5
okay.
Well,
Bergvall. Now, Bergvall, I'll give a 6. I can't give him a 7 because he actually didn't make anything of what he did. But I think he actually looked quite decent when he came on the pitch. Again, on the ball, you can see he's got it naturally on the ball. You can see he's just got it naturally. He's not going to have to do the same sort of training that others are going to have to do to get control of that ball because it's just something you can see he's naturally got it. And I think give him half the season, bring him in a few games like that sort of thing. I think he's definitely one that I think you will definitely start by the end of the season be seeing significantly better of him. I think he's a lot more prepared for this capability than Gray is. So I'll give him a 6 because anything he did, nothing really came of it, but you definitely saw him quite good on the ball. He definitely got some passes through. He definitely put the effort in as well. So I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing with Bergvall, I would like to see him to do more because at Gordon, I know it's also like levels to the leagues, but before he used to take on like 2-3 people at the same time and then like take a free kick with him. We haven't really seen that at Spurs yet. I would like to see him do that as well.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Definitely get your point now. But I think Bergvall definitely looks more prepared than Gray does at the moment.
Gray, yeah.
I mean,
and Gray doesn't look that ball. Gray doesn't look that good on the ball either.
Really, you can say he hasn't had enough time to show, but with the time he has had to show, I just don't think he looks prepared yet. And he's definitely not going to win Ange League or a cup. And if that is all we've actually got as backup for our midfield, I think we're definitely in big trouble. If we get a serious injury out there, then who have we got to cover? Now, Kulusevski, I'll give him a 6 as well. Because again, he came on, he tried to muscle his way through it. He tried the passes. No, it didn't quite go to plan. But I don't think he looked worse than any of the others that came on. I thought he, along with Bergvall, he tried. He made a bit of a difference, even though nothing came of it. So I'll give him a 6.
To be honest, I missed out a bit on Kulusevski yesterday. I was focused on the other guy. So
okay. And then I'll put Richie and Spence together. Well, no, Richie for me came on is just it's just Richarlison in there. He run about like a headless chicken, like he does. I mean, if you wind the man's head off for him before he plays, he definitely would look like a headless chicken on the fucking pitch. And again, he came on absolutely no difference, put a bit of effort in, but I'd give him a 4.
I agree on that one.
Just literally anything he done, there was just no point on doing it. And then Spence, I'll give him a 5 because I think when he came on, you actually saw some pace off of him, and he wasn't on for long. He tried a couple of things. He made a good tackle, but he didn't really have long enough to do anything. So I'll give him a 5.
I didn't see anything from him, so I can't say really.
Okay, and then the last one I'll go to, because I've got to go in a minute, is Ange. What do you rate Ange? I'll let you rate this one first.
3.
Why'd you give him a 3?
Because he even said it like after, like, yeah, we made the same mistake as we did last season. Well, that's on you then. That's not on the players. If you don't change the players, if you don't change the system, well, that's on you. If he at least, like I said earlier, if he tried with like something else, let's say like a Mikey Moore on the right, that's like one change at least. Then you give something new a try, but you keep smacking the same bush or whatever.
No, I get what you mean. I mean, for me, in this one, I'll give Ange a 5. And the reason I give him a 5 is because his tactics actually was working. It was down to the players. But on the other side of it, I give him a 5 because he didn't try and change his tactics. The thing that I did like what Ange done is I don't think he left it too late to try and make a couple of subs. It was just the problem he had was the subs he had weren't going to make a difference.
Would you change Brennan earlier?
So it puts him in a bit of a catch-22 situation, doesn't he? I mean, what? I mean, no, actually, I'm going to have to give Ange a 4. Why the fuck did he put Timo Werner on the pitch or he out on the right-hand side? That one, I was just like, what are you doing? But I'll stick with a 5 because this one was 80% down to the players for me. And at least he made some subs at a respectable time to try and change things. It's just the subs he had, Barkulu maybe, and maybe what Bergvall, if he could have pulled off a chance. There was no one on that subs bench that could change the way the style of play or the chance of our play or anything. There was nobody with any quality to come on and win that game for us, bar maybe Kulusevski. So really, he was a bit screwed whether he did or he didn't, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Except that I would have swapped maybe Brennan at like 45, 50.
Yeah. For that one, Johnson would have come off at 45 for me for Kulusevski because I thought Johnson was that shit. Personally, after 30 minutes, I would have took Johnson off. But I get it. Wait until half time and that. But no, I would have had Johnson straight off at half time. I thought Johnson was absolutely poor. I mean, I'd say the 3 poorest players we had on the pitch was Son, Udogie, and Johnson. I'd say they was our 3 poorest players, hands down. So with that one, I'm going to call it quits because I'm already getting my door knocked on now because I've gone a bit later than I intended to.
Thank you, Dan.
Anyway, that's all right. It's a pleasure to have you on. Where do we find you?
On my channel, Rinketic Sports Agenda. I don't do a lot of Spurs, just general football, other sports like hockey. But I'm trying to leave the Spurs side to you guys. So.
Okay, fair enough. No, pleasure to have you on, mate. You're always welcome. Your opinion counts as much as anybody's. And thank you, everyone, this morning and now afternoon for coming on. Thanks to all the chat and everything. And definitely thank you very much to the... see, I've got the bloody word now. Thank you very much for the... I forgot the bloody phrase for it now. The super chats, that's it. I was thinking super something else. Thanks for the super chats, much appreciated. Right, hope everybody has a good day and hope everyone has a better day than what we had yesterday watching Spurs. Don't ask very often, but give us a quick like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. And as always, same Spurs, different bloody day. Have a good day, people. See you later.
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.